Cari amici sportivi, welcome to yet another edition of Red Card Weekly, here where we mostly speak about Serie A, some international, some European, and yes, we're not professionals, nor do we pretend to be. Just to all you new viewers out there, just to let you know, we do just a couple of regular guys from Montreal talking soccer, and yes, we don't call it Red Card Weekly for no reason. We do give out our Red Card of the Week at the end of the show, something that we didn't like about the soccer world. Without further ado, to my left, we have Francis. Recently, I've been living my life with a lot of shame, but not today because we finally won a game. Polo Giacomo. I have to my right, sono deluso, incazzato, ma sempre innamorato di te, Milan, Steve Polillo. And I am Vince. I have absolutely nothing to say after watching today's game, Tavares. I couldn't rhyme because I have absolutely nothing to say. And I guess we could start talking about that, Francis.
I'm very happy because now for the first week in a long time, it's not the Inter fans that are suffering, it's the Milanistas. And guys, today you must be disappointed a bit by the Milan game. Not just by Milan, but just the game over in general. Guys, it was not an entertaining game.
No.
And it seems there's a pattern developing. When Milan plays a big team, guys, it's a boring game. Now it's a few times in the last 2 weeks, they played Napoli, they played Juve, they don't get results out of those, they don't get a win. Milan are showing their true colors. This is the true Milan. They can't beat the big teams.
When we were sucking at the beginning of the year, we actually won against Juventus. Now that people are expecting better things against Napoli, we weren't that great. It's like Milan was like bring back to earth and really realizing where we're at compared to all the other teams. But like you were saying, Francis, today, not just Milan, there was no chances created by both ends. And then Amelia decides to make the game his own.
Yeah.
Amelia, what are you doing over there trying to take him down as Samoa? Oh, he's going to score on you. And you know what? It was a deserved penalty.
Did you see it? Was a deserved penalty.
Juve got a deserved penalty.
Amelia, I don't know what he was thinking. I bet it wasn't that far. But Asamoah was in the back of that box. He wasn't dangerous or anything.
I know.
And that's why he became a backup goalie, this guy. He had so much prospect, potential when he was at Livorno. They were talking about Amelia as the next big thing. And this guy, you see his career didn't go anywhere. And he's a backup at goal at Milan. And I'm sure he's not even good enough to be a backup.
But even a mistake like that, Steve, even after that mistake, it was 57 minutes. There's plenty of time. We didn't see anything.
They didn't show anything. Allegri lost the change when Abbiati had to come off due to injury. So that brought him down to size. You saw in the second half, he brought in Montari for Ambrosini, who also got hurt. But Vince, were you expecting anything else? The first half was terrible. Both cheaply, dirty played balls in the midfield. No class.
Constant, these crosses. Abate can't cross if his life depended on it. And there was no... Like from both teams, and it's not like
Marchisio didn't show anything. Pirlo wasn't great. There's no outstanding players out of this game.
No, at all. I think Buffon stopped a couple of long-range shots from Montolivo. It was a boring game, and you know what? It kind of sucks because it could have a bit of emotions in the games.
I just want to say I'm thinking Juve is partly to blame for this because Milan, understandably, to get a point out of this game would have been a big deal. So I understand that they're a bit more defensive. But Juventus, that the Scudetto is clinched, you're playing at home, can you try to go for it? Can you show some energy just to make a game out of it?
It's not like you have Champions League to think about.
It's over, you have the Scudetto, I don't even know it.
I have to disagree a bit because I think that Milan, after seeing Fiorentina win this morning and also Napoli winning, coming back in the later stages, Milan had to win this game.
They did.
And they could have took a Juventus team who maybe, the Campionato is already sealed up for them. They really have not a lot of emotion to play against Milan, even though it is Milan-Juve. But they could have attacked a team who maybe would have conceded a cheap goal, and we could have took away the 3 points again against Juve. But it didn't look like that. He didn't put out a formation that looked like he wanted to really expose Juve and go out and attack them.
What this game needed was Balotelli. Because regardless, something would have happened. Good or bad, something would have happened.
Something would have happened, and this is Serie A. Some Cambiaso takes out Giovinco's leg, he gets 1 game. Balotelli says che cazzo vede, and he gets 3 games anyways. You know what? That's what it is. That's what it is. It's unfortunate, but once again, if you're a good team, you're supposed to adapt yourself to these kind of situations. And Pazzini can't hold the ball like Balotelli will hold the ball. Pazzini can't do that. He can't do it at all. And El Shaarawy, we saw the effort, but you know what, El Shaarawy, we
gets-
see him
maybe
in
no-
back defending.
A for effort, but El Shaarawy.
Yeah, for that.
To
for
get
that.
to, he was the only guy who was trying to take on guys. He was striking back.
And then
Actually,
we
no, he
had-
said no player of the game. Maybe he was the player of the game.
And Philippe Mexes, he was taking shots, he was playing midfield for them.
Guys, you know what hurts more for Milan is that Napoli actually won in extra time today, 3-2 against Cagliari. Is it over for that second spot for Milan after Napoli won this game today?
It's going to be hard. We looked at the schedules. They're pretty much for Napoli, Milan, and Fiorentina. They're all. The last game of the season is something that Napoli, I think, they're thinking about, and they don't want to give up any points because the last game is against Roma.
Napoli, Roma. Now we're what, 7 points behind second
7 points
place?
behind, so that's 2 losses, and Milan has to win 2 games. Milan has Roma as well.
Yeah.
Fiorentina by far of the 3 have the easiest schedule, so it's good for them. They're 1 point behind Milan now. It's going to be hard. It looks like it's wrapped up, but we've said that before, and Napoli could
Things
go
change,
through a
right?
slump.
Well-
Today against Cagliari, they didn't look that fantastic. They conceded very easily.
But they got it done.
But they got
Steve.
back.
That's the
Got it done.
difference. Napoli today, they had a bad first half. They picked it up in the second half. They won an extra time. But this is a game that a month ago Napoli would have gotten a draw, or maybe would even have lost the game.
Yeah, but you know what? They pulled through, and that's what they needed to do. And on a side note, Milan, first loss since the loss to
wow.
Roma in December. So the only positive I'll take out of this whole situation, because that's the only positive there is to talk about.
Guys, today, Napoli, I paid more attention to this game against Cagliari because there's a lot of rumors with the Cagliari players. Cagliari is not a bad team. Ibarbo and Golan, everyone was talking, they're on the way, a few clubs are interested. From what you guys saw today, are you guys more impressed than that? Especially a player like N'Golan. If you're going to spend money on a player like that, I find it's a waste of money. Don't tell me that teams in Italy cannot produce that type of player from their Primavera. And with the economic situation in Italy, you can't put money on players like that.
No. But you know what? I would probably spend money on a guy like Ibarbo because the goals he scored, you know, even his control on the ball, the way he keeps the ball. I was watching today. I would invest money if I would have to on Ibarbo before Nainggolan. Many years he's a bit older too. What's his name? Nainggolan. I think he's in his late 20s. But definitely, because I know Inter were talking about possibly Ibarbo. I think it would be a good addition because even when Milito does come back, Milito's like what, 34,
Oh, yeah.
35. You can't go on.
Depending on the team that's going to be purchasing these players, N'Golan, I have to agree with Francis, we were talking about it before, cannot spend anywhere between 10 and 13 million to get a player that you could create in the Primavera.
Unless you're QPR. If you're QPR, then you could go throw these $15, $16 million for these new guys.
Ibarbo, just because he brings you a lot of stuff. He's a little bit more physical.
Yeah.
He's a taller guy, a different type of striker, good for the Serie A. But even him, playing once a week and playing 3 times a week by a team who's going to spend money on him,
That's a big difference. Yeah, that's a good point as well.
And guys, Napoli today, they scored a couple of goals, offside, yes, no. I just want to say I was really turned off, and this has to stop in Serie A. The first goal that Napoli scores, the rest are trying to make a decision. The Napoli players are running everywhere after the linesman, after the ref, after the goal line judge. Well, at one point, let the refs make a decision. But none of these guys looked like they wanted to be blamed. None of the refs wanted to take responsibility of the decision.
But anyways, offside, no offside. They won, right? I don't think there was big controversial calls, but no, you're right, because it's ridiculous when you have 15 guys after the refs and trying to make a decision.
the thing is that unfortunately we have to blame the refs again. They have to take control of that situation. They have to come together quickly, not after. Don't even make the players come. Just say, I'm going and talk to him. We're going to discuss and it's over.
Yeah. Have some Corleones.
These soap opera scenes in the middle of a game, they're going to sort it out. They were able to see it. It didn't go off Cavani the first goal. It clearly went off Astori. It was his fault on that goal. It was his fault on the goal after, and he's not the player that we all wanted him to be.
Yeah, definitely. I saw it
Okay.
this year.
Elsewhere, Lazio loses. I think this is probably the last week we're going to talk about Lazio. They're out of the race. Yes, they're still fighting for a European spot, but now they've lost 9 out of the last 13 games. But who shows up in the picture now? Udine is back in the picture. Can you believe Guidolin does it year after year after losing Asamoah, Inler, Andanovic, Armero? What do you think this guy could have done with a big team?
I don't know. Guidolin is by far the people working for him. They pick out this talent like no one else in Italy.
Sanchez.
They bring in these South Americans. It seems like everybody they touch, it turns to gold, and they're able to sell and make profits. Guidolin with a big team, I don't know if it would be the same.
I think this is the kind of guy that, you know what, he's good with a team like Udinese, not playing with, like, you know, maybe he's the type of coach that can handle these characters that say, would Guidolin go to coach an Ibra or something like, you know, these characters in the dressing room, but you still got to tip your hat off to the guy because year in, like you were saying, guys go out, and even at the beginning of the season when we're doing our Serie A pool, I didn't put a lot of points on Udinese because I'm like, this year they're not going to be able to pull it off, and, you know, looking at Lazio, guys, at one point they were 2 points behind first place, and look what happened.
Lazio against slumps, and this is the worst slump they've had in the few
And it
years.
seems like we were speaking at the beginning of the season, Lazio does this every single season. Comes out like a lion at the beginning, and then when it comes into the second half, they get that slump, but they have a longer slump than any regular teams, and that's what happens.
And the other team fighting for that Champions spot, Fiorentina, guys, today, I have to admit, I'm cheering for Fiorentina to get that third spot. Why? Because they played attractive soccer, they're offensive, they go for it. But today, winning 3-0, Torino coming back 3-3,
You can't let that happen.
and winning in extra time, 4-3, Fiorentina got fortunate today.
They did. I was watching a bit of the highlights. Fiorentina, like you're saying, plays great. I know Jovetic wasn't playing today. Milano was there, but you cannot expect to go into Europe, Champions or Europa League, playing game. And you know what? Not taking anything away from Torino. It's not like they're a bad team. But you're up 3-0 at home, Steve.
The game should have been closed. At the half an hour mark, it was already 3-0. Then they went into the locker rooms, even up 3-0. Then at the 45th minute, the play just started. Torino pulled one back. And then slowly let down their guard, and they got pulled back, and it was 3-3. At that point, Fiorentina, they dug down and they got the result. Unfortunately, what happened to Milan against Fiorentina, where they let them come back, those are the points that make a difference between second and third place in this kind of Serie A that we're watching.
And credit to Torino, it's a few times this year they're involved in crazy matches.
Yeah.
And what a roller coaster of a team.
But can we say Fiorentina with Giuseppe Rossi and a healthy Jovetic?
Healthy Jovetic, yes. Giuseppe Rossi, no, because we haven't seen him at all in that system, so I really don't know. So it's hard to say because we haven't seen him at all. So
For once, you're making sense, Francis.
it happens from time to time.
Time to time.
Elsewhere, Inter finally won a game. And you know what? I'm a bit disappointed that they won.
Con il top player,
No, just because
Tommaso Rocchi.
today we gave a chance to some of these young kids, and now with the win, they think they're back in that race, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Francis, you didn't give him a chance. It's because you have no choice. You have no choice to
Yeah,
put
we
these
don't
kids
have a
on
choice.
because you don't have any players.
But I think Jonathan and Alvarez just got the memo that the season actually started.
Oh yeah,
They've been
that's right.
playing well the last few games, I have to admit. I've been bashing them all year, but now they started playing lately.
I don't know if you guys saw. Like I posted on Twitter, like I was telling you to during the week game when the Rocky and against Roma for the Coppa Italia. Rocky, Jonathan, the whole build up to that play was like, oh my god. Is that really Tommaso Rocchi? Is that really Jonathan? So, yes, I guess they got the memo, but they have to play like this because they were believed to bring that extra thing to Inter. But today, 1-0. Obviously, you will have maybe a better, but you won. And I don't know if you guys paid attention to Stramaccioni. Everybody, when they scored Rocky, everybody's going crazy. Stramaccioni's like, he's still stressing out. He's telling everybody, come back. But you know what? They won. So let's see if they go Stramaccioni until the end.
This is a bit tough though, because on the Rocky goal, it even got deflected. Who knows, if it didn't get deflected, he might not have even hit it.
But for once, they didn't concede.
Exactly.
Back.
I know phantom penalty shot this week.
Yeah, you guys, huh? You didn't
I'm
get
happy.
a
That's why I feel better.
So this week, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, on Red Card Weekly, Francisco Giacomo is not going to complain about a conspiracy. Juve got a deserved penalty shot.
The show's an over. Okay?
Oh, okay, sorry.
And finally, guys, Roma draws against Pescara. I don't even know what to say about Roma anymore.
Roma, like to Roma fans, I don't know how their emotions go. It's like a yo-yo.
Especially, now we're going to talk about Coppa Italia. They made a great performance against Inter midweek, an entertaining game, 3-2. Destro scores a couple of goals. He scored again today. And how can you go against Pescara? They're trailing 1-0 and give that type of performance? I don't know what to say.
I don't know, because Pescara, if anybody saw, there's some statistics that are coming out on Twitter. Their goal differential this year is -42. I think it's the second worst all time in the Serie A. behind another Serie B team coming up to Serie A. But Roma, please. These poor fans in Roma, no wonder they're crazy. No wonder they want to blow up everybody. Because look what happens. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. How could you go through a game like that after beating Inter to reach the Coppa Italia final, and then against Pescara, minus 42 goal differential, you tie 1-1.
And then, like, a team like Roma that plays Juventus, and when Totti scored that crazy goal, they took the game to Juve a couple of months back, and then you played Pescara. That's 2 points. So what are the objectives for Roma? Are we going to go for Europe? Obviously, like, I don't think Champions League is not even, but you got to have, like, I don't know. I have no explanation for Roma. I have no explanation.
But thankfully for Roma, they get to play in the Coppa Italia final. They're going to face a Lazio team that's in a slump, so it's a good time for them. They might win a trophy this year, but this is the game that the Federation did not want to deal with.
At the Olympic
They want to
Stadium.
avoid this, yes, absolutely.
At the Olympic Stadium, I believe it's the 26th of May. Already the bickering, the Rossi started, Flockery came back, and in a way, I hear what you're saying, Francis, but in the other way, I think Serie A kind of needs this, like, this big derby game, Coppa Italia, just a bit of exposure, because right now, Serie A, what do we have going for us?
But
Absolutely.
the Coppa Italia final is always well attended.
Yeah, but I'm saying not just for Italy, like, for people to, like, maybe
Listen.
people from across Europe actually watching a Coppa Italia.
So do we need to hear again in the news that people died and it's going to go around the world and
Oh,
put
yeah.
like a dark shadow on our game?
I want to know what the Federation is going to do, because after the last Roman derby, they said that they would never play a Roman derby at night again. Coppa Italia in the middle of the day, it's pretty sad.
Speriamo that we have a great game and no violence, but it is the Roman derby.
Okay, guys, since there's no Champions League to talk about this week, we just heard a couple of funny rumors this week, and I just wanted to know what you guys think about them. The best I've heard, Zeman to coach Inter next year. When I heard that, guys,
I think it's going to come true.
it's impossible. You have a dysfunctional coach that will be at the helm of a dysfunctional club. You want more drama? There's gonna be more drama.
But maybe-
Please do not bring Zeman to Inter.
Maybe two negatives get the positive. I don't know.
There is a positive maybe about that. He won't have the tools to switch around his formation so
You see?
often.
No. He's gonna go get a couple of Greek guys for cheap. He's gonna bring them over to
Yeah,
Inter.
and then they're gonna conflict with the Argentinians in Inter. There's gonna be some sort
This
of, like,
is a soap opera waiting to happen.
yeah. So I would wish it happens for the soap opera.
Other rumors coming out from England: Manchester United and Rooney. Apparently, it's smelling of a divorce. But the PSG are apparently interested in Rooney. Which, if Rooney comes to PSG, you cannot keep Ibra. And now the rumor mill going that Ibra would end up at Juve again.
This is so hard to figure out. We know that everything's leaked from everywhere. And like you said, Rooney and Ibra together, I don't see that happening.
No.
You have just too much of the same player. Even in the midfield, the same thing. Too much of the same player. If Ibra would leave, would he go back to Juventus? Oh, we know the soap opera that happened when Juventus went down. Ibra left. This does not look good. And it doesn't look like it's going to come true either.
One thing's for sure, that if we have to really think about Ibra to Juventus, financial experts were saying that Ibra would have to take possibly a 30 to 35% pay cut, and PSG did buy him for 20 million. Guys, they ain't gonna let him go for 10 million, right? So Rooney to PSG, I don't put any. I think maybe a 10% possibility. Ibra to Juventus, I give it about 25%.
But I'd like to, if we're smelling a divorce, if Rooney doesn't go to PSG, where's he going to go?
The top two in Spain could afford him. Who could afford him? Guys, basically it's that. But PSG are the top.
But that's what it comes down to. We're always talking about who could afford him, but forget who could afford him. How is he going to fit into that system? Where are you going to send? Like Alexis Sanchez at Barcelona. Well, they could afford him. What the hell has he done, Alexis Sanchez at Barcelona? Alex Song at Barcelona. Why did you, like, this is what pisses me off about soccer. I'm the only one that could afford him. All these strikers, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. Oh, we can afford him. We can, like Manchester City, we're going to get Cavani, 70 million, we're going to pay this. Where's he going to play Cavani?
But you know what? I'm not blaming those teams. I'm blaming those players that actually end up going to these teams to sit on the bench. They've seen many guys ruin their careers going to these big teams and nothing's happening. Sit on the bench for season.
And then
So
leave
they're partly
when it's
to blame.
absolutely too late.
And they're
Yeah.
getting bad advices from their agents, and their agents just want to get a cut of the transfer, and that's it.
Cavani, let's talk about Cavani.
Cavani, okay. Now we're talking about people being able to afford players. Now Cavani apparently is not too happy at Napoli, might want to leave.
No, it's not the move.
De Laurentiis said he won't sell for under 70 million, but now teams have been approaching Napoli and saying they would like to make installments on Cavani.
The Milan way.
The Milan way. But why would Napoli do that?
They need the money now.
Napoli,
they need to
the full amount.
They need the full amount. If they sell Cavani, which I don't know how it's gonna happen, but guys, we have to look at it in this way. It's $70 million. Whoever approaches Napoli with $70 million, they're gonna want it right away, and they're gonna be able to again purchase some other players, and it's again the revolving door of Serie A where we pick up this talent, we develop it, they become great, and they go over to these other teams.
But if they're in Europe, guys, if you sell Cavani and you're going to Champions League,
You won't make it out of the first.
you're not going to make it. And you know what? What would be the point of selling Cavani for 70 million, and then you're going to replace him? What? You're not going to be able. You ain't going to go get Van Persie. You ain't going to get Wayne Rooney. So you're basically doing it financially. So his contract says the clause is 70 million. 70 million is good next year, like it is the
I
year
think in
after.
the end it's up to Cavani. If he says he's the one who's going to decide if he wants to stay or he wants to leave.
In the newspaper, there was a little section where Cavani's mom said if he leaves Napoli, he will regret it.
The mom is always right.
She said that nobody will love him like the Napoli fans love him.
That's true.
Okay, now this is the best one that I've heard, guys. Close to the Zeman one. Verratti to Milan, which is fine. I don't mind. Milan, they're interested in Verratti. But to sweeten the deal, they told PSG, we'll throw in Robinho, part of the deal, just to convince them to sell Verratti. This is
We're
the best.
negotiating. You always start with something. One of the guys to be okay, we'll take
Of
it.
all players, Robinho.
Hey, you start with something, right? Galliani, good for you. No, Verratti to Milan, from what I've heard, because PSG had an interest in Abate, I think it was Verratti for Abate with a bit of cash, but then these guys were telling me before, like, well, PSG need any cash? What are they going to do with extra cash?
No cash there.
I would love to see Verratti back in Italy, but there was never any reports coming from France that Verratti's not happy. He's playing, right?
Yeah.
He's not playing every game. Obviously, the kid's like, what, still 19, 20 years old? He's not
20 years
older,
old.
he's
But
20 years
it's
old.
getting to a critical point where he's going to end up like another Sanchez. If it continues that he sits on the bench, it doesn't play
No,
consistently.
but he plays.
But it's not. He has to play every day.
He has to
He has to play every day.
And
A player of that talent needs to play every day, and it's a waste that, unfortunately, and I'm not blaming PSG at all, because for 12 million, all the Italian teams, starting from Juventus all the way down to Pescara, who sold him. No, not Pescara because they sold him. Right above Pescara, they should all be blamed for letting him go out of Italy.
It just leaves me speechless that teams are not willing to spend 12 million for Verratti, who I think it's underpriced, but they're willing to spend 30 million on Brazilian players that we've never heard of. It leaves me like, I don't understand. And that's why some Italian teams are in trouble. And talk about teams in trouble. Inter lost $76 million last year. Roma lost $53 million. There are two teams that are in trouble with that financial fair play.
Financial fair.
And this is exactly it. Inter's been known to spend money on these scrap players, but you're not willing to spend 12 million on a local guy, a future talent of the game, definitely that you see week in, week out in your backyard, but you're willing to go get a guy in Argentina that nobody's seen or just heard a word of.
I don't know if you watched today a bit of the EPL. You know what a fantastic game today? Coutinho? Remember Coutinho that used to play for Inter? He was playing for Liverpool.
Chalk that up as another loss for Inter.
That's it. A guy that you waited 3 years to develop, and once he was ready, you sold for peanuts.
Meglio,
Made a good
meglio un anno senza titoli che una vita da ridicoli.
Guys, we have 5 minutes left, and a lot of people have asked us to talk about the impact. They're not playing much,
No, I know.
but guys, do you think the impact is as good as the record shows? They're 4-1-1 right now. I think we're overachieving.
I think it's way too early to get into this kind of talks. It's a lot better than last year, 100%. But the away game, what was that game we lost 2-0? It was really poorly played, and I think there's been too much of like really great game played to really bad games played. But I think honestly, from all with Di Vaio and all these new signings, I think this is where everybody was expecting them to be. I don't think guys you were expecting this 0-4 or 2-2.
No, but just I went to see the last game against Columbus, who I've seen tickets in. That 4-1-4-1 system is not working. Felipe doesn't seem to fit in that system. That's why I'm disappointed, because Felipe is such an entertaining player. That's why I'm more disappointed than anything else.
But if you have to try out some stuff, might as well try it out now and see what works. But anyways, but the impact, you know what, we're hoping to not hoping. I think everybody in Montreal is expecting them to make the playoffs this year. I think that would be the great disappointment, Impact not making the playoffs this year.
But I also want to be entertained.
Unfortunately,
Francis was a
I was at that game against Columbus too. It was not entertaining. Unfortunately, in this country, we handle with weather. If you were sitting in the shade, you were frozen. If you were sitting in the sun, you were taking out your jacket. So at the Saputo Stadium, fantastic stadium. I think the weather is against us a bit, especially in the beginning portions of the MLS. In Toronto, it really doesn't count because every time you go to Toronto, you know they're going to lose or they're going to tie in extra time, so that doesn't make a difference. But here, we want to see a winner. And if we don't see a winner, there's going to end up being problems. So they continue to sign, and it's good, and they continue to develop, but we, like Francis said, we need to be entertained, and Felipe is the key. Felipe was the key last year, and he has to be the key this year.
Yeah.
Felipe is the engine that makes the Montreal Impact run. Devayo won't score if Felipe is going to be a non-factor.
And guys, finally we'll finish with our red cards of the week. I'll start with mine. I love Paulo Di Canio, but this guy goes mental when his team scores. He has 2 wins against Newcastle. They won again this week. This guy is crazy. He runs, slides on his brand new Versace suit, ruined his pants. He's fist pumping. He's running down the touchline. I understand the excitement. For the players, it must be fantastic because you love to play for a guy like that.
Yeah.
You have to give you 100%. But let me tell you, buddy, you won't make too many friends.
And actually, we'll have one friend. It's going to be his Taylor. Because 2 wins, 2 new suits.
I like it. I like the enthusiasm. Good for you,
Vince,
Danny.
please tell me you only have a red card this week.
Yes, I only have one red card, and the red card goes to a little incident during the Liverpool-Chelsea game. And, you know, Suarez this morning didn't have his breakfast. You know, I understand. So there was Ivanovic there, and he bit Ivanovic. But that's not my red card. My red card is to the referee that's standing 4.5 feet away from that incident and didn't see anything. Why do we have these referees on the touchlines behind the net if they're just going to be there to hold that stupid flag or just have the microphone put their mouth over their mouth? Seriously, if you're not going to do anything, go back and we'll save the salary for these things. But Luis Suarez, I think this might be.
He's going to get a telephone call from Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah.
Steve, your red card of the week?
My red card week goes to Xavi from sorry, not Xavi. It's going to be Iniesta, who says La Liga is more important than the Champions League.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
You guys in Spain are disgusting. One time it's the Liga that's more important. One time it's Champions League that's more important. I bet you that if they weren't 29,000 points ahead of La Liga, they were going to say the Champions League was going to be more important.
Yeah.
You know what?
Now that you have for sure your secure La Liga title, if you lose in Champions League against Bayern, which I think you're being a little bit of a chicken because you're scared of Bayern, you have the La Liga to fall back on. Terrible.
Especially in the last 2-3 games, they didn't play with Messi. They did not show up. They got lucky winning against Levante yesterday. So Barcelona, you know what? Keep your comments to yourself and show us what you got. Because if you beat
I'm giving another red card to Amelia. Why the hell did you go tackle Asamoah?
take it easy. Okay.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.
you
We'll
very
have
much.
Champions League this week.
Yes.
We'll have loads more to talk about. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for your support.
Aspetta,
Ciao.
we have a viewer's question this week.
Here's question.
Yeah, Lisa La Milanista from St. Leonard asks, Vinny, if we would go see a Milanista game together, what could I expect?
Who's this?
This is
Lisa
fantastic.
Lisa La Milanista from St. Leonard.
This is fantastic.
This is like live TV.
Yeah, because you have a minute.
What would you expect? A lot of emotions, a lot of screaming, and me not paying attention to you at all because I'm concentrated on the game. That's your question of the week. That's your answer. Forza Milan for always.
Ciao.